I hope now I'll be audible. I'm so sorry for this for this lag and for this technical error in the audio not being there. I hope you guys can hear me now. If you can hear me, please send in a comment. Thank you, Subodh. Subodh says now we can hear you. Thank you so much. I can count on you, Subodh, for all these feedbacks. Shalab saying yes. Thank you so much, Shalab, and all. Thank you to all those who pointed this out. Sachin Chaudhary, Subodh Chauhan, Paras Yadav, Shalab Memon, saying that there was no audio. Thank you guys. You alerted me, and I could fix it before it became a little more embarrassing. Thank you so much. Subodh is saying होता है सही होता है. Thank you. Also, I just want to let viewers who are joining in, अगर आप चाहते हैं कि मैं आपके questions का हिंदी में आंसर करूं, तो आप अपना question हिंदी में पूछ सकते हैं. I am well versed with both the languages. I can answer those questions in Hindi as well, so I don't have any issues. So, like I was saying, that I plan to keep this show centered around the ODI series that happened between India and South Africa. But given how Mohammad Shami has been named as the replacement today for Jasprit Bumrah in the World T20, I think a lot of questions will be on that front. So I'm going up top and looking at the questions that have come in. There's this question that has come in by Ruben. I'm just taking that question. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So this question by the question by Ruben is: can India beat Pak when India has not played even a match with their first 11, while Pak has played 2 series with their first 11, barring Shaheen, and they seem to be peaking at the right time? Well, at the same time, Pakistan have also lost a series at home against England, a 7-match T20 series, and India, on the other hand, despite not playing their first 11, have beaten South Africa and Australia at home, albeit with a little bit of luck with the toss, but that happens. I still feel that Pakistan's middle order is a concern. They don't know what is the best position or how to best utilize the likes of Shan Masood, Haider Ali, and Iftikhar Ahmed. They have now realized that yes, they need to use the batting value of Shadab Khan and Mohammad Nawaz. Asif Ali, I think, will remain as their designated finisher. At this, also Shaheen coming off a long layoff, you don't know how he'll do. So there's that concern as well. I think this is probably the first time when before, probably the first time in the last 15, 17 years since the time that I've been watching cricket, that India and Pakistan go into a World Cup fixture with no outright favorites. I think the teams are more evenly matched than what they have ever been before. If Jasprit Bumrah was in India's 11, I think India would have been the favorites. I still back India's batting to do better against Pakistan's bowling. I think the match will probably be decided between India's bowling and Pakistan's middle order. That is where the match will be probably decided. But I think there is no outright favorite, and India can actually do well. And I won't be surprised if India win as well. Just need a little bit of luck to go their way. Taking in more questions now. Ajay Chauhan is saying, sir, don't you think Pakistan is a very underrated team? IMO Pakistan has a better first 11 than India's, although Pak's batting is lower than India's batting, but their bowling is far better than India's. Yes, their bowling is better. I think their bowling is better, but the thing about their bowling is, barring Haris Rauf, anyone and everyone is inexperienced for those conditions, especially amongst the pacers, whether that be Naseem Shah or Muhammad Wasim Jr. Even Shaheen hasn't played a lot in Australia, and neither has Mohammad Hasnain. In fact, Mohammad Hasnain was called for the very first time for his action in the BBL. So also the thing with young fast bowlers is sometimes on their bad day they can go for a lot of runs. Naseem Shah in the Asia Cup in one match against India was brilliant, the one that India won, but the one that Pakistan won, he actually went for runs. So that is something that will always be the case with young pacers. They tend to operate between high variances. So you never know what might be the case, or what kind of day it might be. So they do have better bowling lineup, but I wouldn't really say that they are man to man a better team. I just think that in T20s, even if you have a team which may not be as good as the other on paper, but if you have just one or two individuals who just turn up, then it could be a different story altogether. सुबोध इज सेइंग, सर ये गलत है, जो प्लेयर सीरीज में खेलते हैं और अच्छा परफॉर्म करते हैं वो वर्ल्ड कप में सिलेक्ट नहीं होते, जो T20 का बॉलर नहीं है वो सिलेक्ट होता है. आई थिंक जो शमी के सिलेक्ट होने के पीछे कारण है वो ये है कि जो कैप्टन और कोच हैं, दे वांट टू गो फॉर द बेस्ट फेल सेफ ऑप्शन, बिकॉज अगर आप शमी को सिलेक्ट नहीं करते और आपका वर्ल्ड कप बुरा जाता है तो आपका एक ही क्रिटिसिज्म बहुत होगा कि आपने एक्सपीरियंस प्लेयर्स को बैक नहीं किया। विराट कोहली और रवि शास्त्री का एक बहुत मेजर क्रिटिसिज्म ये रहता है कि उन्होंने लास्ट ईयर T20 वर्ल्ड कप में युजवेंद्र चहल को बैक नहीं किया। पर अगर आप मैचेस को क्लोजली देखें तो इससे पहले कि इंडिया की बॉलिंग पिक्चर में आती, इंडिया वो दोनों मैचेस हार चुकी थी काफी हद तक, स्पेशली न्यूजीलैंड वाला। तो युजवेंद्र चहल के होने या ना होने से कुछ खास फर्क नहीं पड़ता। तो आई थिंक एक्सपीरियंस की तरफ और जो ज्यादा फेल सेफ ऑप्शन है टीम मैनेजमेंट ने उसको बैक किया है। मैं इससे एग्री नहीं करता, बट मैं ये सिर्फ लॉजिक समझाना चाह रहा हूँ। दूसरा लॉजिक ये है कि इंडिया को लगता है कि अब उनकी जो डेथ बॉलिंग की कमी है वो उस डेथ बॉलिंग की कमी को पूरा नहीं कर सकते। तो जो नेक्स्ट बेस्ट ऑल्टरनेटिव बचता है वो ये ऑल्टरनेटिव बचता है कि आप पावर प्ले में ही गेम खत्म कर दें। आप शमी से 2-3 ओवर कराएं, आप भुवनेश्वर कुमार से 2-3 ओवर कराएं पावर प्ले में, और आप कोशिश करें कि आप ऑपोजिशन को 2 या 3 डाउन कर दें। क्योंकि अगर आप ऑपोजिशन को 3 डाउन कर देते हैं पावर प्ले में तो आप जो एंड ओवर्स में डैमेज है उसको काफी हद तक रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर सकते हैं। बहुत कम ऐसा होगा कि आपने ऑपोजिशन को 3 डाउन कर दिया पावर प्ले में और आप फिर भी 180 रन कंसीड कर रहे हैं। आप शायद वहां से सिर्फ मैक्स टू मैक्स 160 रन कंसीड करें, जो कि चेजेबल होते हैं ऑन मोस्ट डेज। एंड अगर साउथ अफ्रीका जैसी लाइनअप है जहां पर बैटिंग डेप्थ जो है वो बहुत ज्यादा नहीं है, क्योंकि मार्को यानसन या वेन पार्नेल नंबर 7 पे होंगे और टॉप 6 में टेम्पा बवुमा भी है, तो वहां पर अगर आप 2 विकेट्स भी ले लेते हैं पावर प्ले में तो वो ऑपोजिशन को अच्छे से हिट करता है एंड आप रियल सही में रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर सकते हैं काफी ज्यादा रन स्कोरिंग। तो एक ये भी आइडिया हो सकता है। Paras Yadav is asking, Shami performed well in World Cup 15. Do you think we can repeat that performance in this World Cup? Well, for me, जो 2015 World Cup की performance थी, that performance remains a one performance where I think India really punched above their weight, because India's bowling attack in that World Cup was Mohammad Shami, Umesh Yadav, and Mohit Sharma. And outside of the 11, the players that you had were Ambati Raidu, Akshar Patel, and Stuart Binnie. और आई थिंक एक और प्लेयर था whose name I can't remember, and बाकी जो आपकी 11 थी that was more or less the same. And just before the World Cup, India had really struggled in the tri-series versus England and Australia, and they failed to win any single game. So I think that was one aberration. If Shami does well, I hope he does well, because there's also one thing that I want to make it clear is that if Shami doesn't do well, I won't be critical of him. I'd be critical of the team management, because in a way, if you have picked up a bowler who hasn't played any cricket in the last 3 months and hasn't played any T20 international in the last 1 year, you're also sort of setting up that player to fail. So even if Shami doesn't do well, I won't be critical of him. The people that I'll be critical of will be the team management. That is one thing that I want to be clear. And I have no expectations of Mohammad Shami. If he does well, I'll be very happy, and that would also mean that he would have made me eat the humble pie. But that is okay. I don't mind that. Uh, Robin Kumar is asking me, क्या हाल है पाजी? Thank you Robin, I'm doing good. मैं अच्छा हूँ, आप कैसे हो? And then Robin's asking me, क्या पाजी ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪਿੰਡ ਕਿਹੜਾ है? पिंड जो है उसके बारे में मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगा, पर अभी क्रिकेट की बात कर लेते हैं। कुछ और क्वेश्चंस हैं मैं देख रहा हूँ। Ajay Chauhan is asking me, sir, I think Rohit Sharma is selling himself short by being so much aggressive in the power play. Now, this is a very, very, very good observation. Rohit Sharma's average post the last World T20 is 29 and his strike rate is 145. Now, that strike rate of 145 is higher than his career strike rate. And his career strike rate has obviously gone up because of how he's played in the last few games. But his average has come down. Now, the thing is, if you want your batters to bat a little aggressively, then they will have to compromise on their averages, right? And if Rohit wants his team to bat aggressively, then he has to walk the talk. If he doesn't, if he bats like Babar Azam, then him saying in post-match conferences or in post-match presentations or press conferences that we want to bat aggressively, it makes no sense. I think that maybe Rohit slightly could tinker his approach, which we have seen him do, जैसे उन्होंने श्रीलंका के अगेंस्ट किया था in that Asia Cup fixture, or against West Indies in the first T20I, where the pitch was actually tough and he bided some time. I just think Rohit also needs a little bit of luck and maybe some more of what do you call it? Maybe better shot selection, but I wouldn't really be very critical, because that is a very tough role for someone to nail on that front. So that is where I'm coming from. But yeah, Rohit has pretty much turned himself into a basher, and that that average of 29 reflects why he's batting like that, and that strike rate. Maybe maybe if he can take that, I don't think he should be, uh, sacrificing on that strike rate. But if he can even take that average above by 2 points, I think it would really help India if he can do that. Robin Kumar saying Shami over Siraj seems a bit unfair that Shami comes in as a leader of the bowling pack as well, which in my opinion gave him that edge over Siraj and not the performance. परफॉर्मेंस तो हुई नहीं है, परफॉर्मेंस के बेस अब जब कोई T20 आई खेला ही नहीं है, तो इट्स प्योरली अबाउट द एक्सपीरियंस पार्ट, एंड आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाट द टीम हैज gone with. Bharat Kotwani is asking me starting pace attack in first match. I think this will be decided on the basis of the two warm-up games. If Shami plays those two warm-up games and he does well, then he might find himself in the 11 on the place of in the place of who, I think in place of Harshal. I think Arshdeep and Bhuvneshwar Kumar are more or less a lock. It's someone like Harshal Patel who's really struggled a lot. So if Harshal Patel struggles in the two warm-up matches as well, then I see Shami replacing him. That's the pace attack for me. Also, I see even if Harshal starts for India, I think against South Africa, Shami will come in given the stadium that India will be playing at, which would be Perth. So for that game, I definitely see Shami playing for India, but I'm not so sure if he'll start the first game. But if Harshal doesn't do well in the two warm-up games, then there's a good chance that Shami might play. Ajay Chauhan, Pak has two all-rounders in Nawaz and Shadab, while India has only Hardik. Also, India's tail with Akshar, Harshal, Bhuvi, Chahal, Arshdeep is longer, which has Shadab, Nawaz, Shaheen, Naseem, Rauf. Well, I think Akshar Patel can do the kind of role or do something what Nawaz has been doing, because they are players of the similar mold, and he can also attack spin. I would I would have liked India to use Akshar's batting in the last 6 T20Is, because I think Akshar can play a role with the bat in the middle overs for India when India play against Pakistan on the 23rd of October, and he can attack Shadab as well as Nawaz. So wahan par that is there. But yes, overall, a lot of India bowlers really don't bat, which makes it difficult for India to go with and a top six also don't bowl. So it makes it very difficult for India to try and fit in players like Shardul Thakur, who can add something with the bat, but their bowling is something which is a bit of a hit and a miss. And then when you have only 6 bowling options, you can't really fit in that kind of a bowler. And especially at this point of time, इंडिया की बॉलिंग ऐसी है कि आपके पास कोई भी एक बॉलर नहीं है जिस पे आप रिलाई कर सकते हो to give you 4 overs for say even 30 runs, maybe barring an Ashwin. So it's a very tricky one for India right now. Pakistan definitely struggle against Ashwin if he plays. I hope he plays ahead of Chahal. Here's something interesting. And I've said this before in the show, against right-handers, Ashwin's economy rate in T20 internationals is lesser than Chahal's economy rate. Also, Pakistan's right-handers Rizwan and Babar also struggle against off-spin. And the way Pakistan has been playing, they have been promoting someone like Nawaz to come up the top. Now, if you have both Akshar and Chahal, then you can't bowl both of them to Nawaz, because they will be turning the ball into him. And Nawaz actually hit Chahal for a few runs in that one game that he came up the order. And someone like Shadab Khan also plays leg spin very well. So I think to counter Nawaz and to counter Fakar or Shan Masood, whosoever plays, Ashwin becomes a very good option. For me, Ashwin will play and not Chahal. Also because Ashwin at this point of time is the only reliable bowler who will bowl between the range of 0 for 26 to 0 for 34. All other bowlers that India have are very high variance. They can have a day wherein they might take 3 wickets for 20 runs in their 4 overs, and on their bad day, they can go for 45 runs. So Ashwin on that front really is a very bankable option. And for me, he definitely plays. He also adds something with the bat, which Chahal doesn't. So for me, Ashwin is a very simple pick. Also because Akshar turns the ball away anyway, and you need someone to counter the left-handers of Pakistan. And if there's a scenario where Nawaz is promoted, which spinner do you bowl, or do you go back to pacers and then hold back spinners for the death? So I don't know. Just looking at all the other questions. Why India was playing at home when New Zealand, Pakistan, Bangladesh are playing tri-series in New Zealand and England? and Australia are playing in Australia. We are the richest board. We should have scheduled series in Australia. Well, I don't think playing in New Zealand really helps to prepare yourself for conditions in Australia. But yes, I do agree with the point that I would have ideally liked India to play a T20I series against Australia in Australia, like England are doing at this point of time. And the Australian board would have been happy with it as well. And it's been almost 2 years that India played any cricket in Australia. So yes, that is something that the board could have looked at, but now what's done is done. We can take solace in the fact that Indian team has been one of the first ones to arrive in Australia, and they have already played two warm-up games in Perth, which is one venue which can be very difficult for Asian teams, and they're preparing well for the game against South Africa in Perth. So that is we can take solace in that fact. That is all that I can say. uh, Ajay Chauhan, let me take Har Sahib's comment first. Paji, there are reports of India possibly going to Pakistan for Asia Cup 23. Do you think if this happens, door might open for Pakistan players in IPL? It's something which is too far down the line, too early to say. uh, I I don't think that India will get the opportunity to go to Pakistan. I think that World T20, that Asia Cup might get shifted to some other country, and then India will play then. So if they play, then it could be very different. But I'm really not sure and not hopeful. Though I would love a lot more of India Pakistan Test cricket to happen, because a lot of players of this generation that have played Test cricket in the last 10 years for India, they haven't played a single Test match against Pakistan. And someone like Virat Kohli has a lot of fan following in Pakistan. People are absolutely crazy about him. Amongst the recent players who've played for India, only Ishant Sharma is someone who's played a Test match against Pakistan. Neither Rohit Sharma has played a Test match against Pakistan. Neither Virat Kohli. Ravichandran Ashwin hasn't played one. Ajinkya Rahane hasn't. Cheteshwar Pujara hasn't. Because the last Test match I think that India played against Pakistan was in 2007, which was in Bangalore. So it's been 15 years. So I'd love to see a lot more of India Pakistan Test cricket happen, because there you'll see a lot of good battles as well. Virat Kohli facing Shaheen Afridi, Ashwin actually bowling to some good players of spin bowling. So I'd actually look forward to India Pakistan Test series a lot more than India Pakistan white ball cricket, because India Pakistan white ball cricket you still get to see something. India Pakistan Test cricket, it's been nearly 15 years that we haven't seen anything. So that is something that I want to see. Ajay Chauhan is saying, "Sir, the brand of cricket India is playing doesn't suits their 11 as they don't have batting depth." Uh, yeah, to some extent, yes. But I think by having Ashwin at 8 and Akshar at 7, uh, they can still make up for some batting depth. And if India don't take that brand of cricket, then with the weakness in their bowling, I don't think that they can give themselves the best chance of winning the T20 game. So there is no other way out for India than to bat that way. Unfortunately, that is the case. But yes, I tend to agree with Ajay that India don't have the batting depth that you would like to have, which in England have, or even in Australia have when they play Daniel Sams. Daniel Sams at 8 and Pat Cummins at 9 is insane amount of batting depth. So, but yeah, I mean, you have to make the best of what you have, unfortunately. Ruben Loganathan saying, since Venki Iyer has been doing well in Syed Mushtaq Ali, shouldn't he be given another chance, as India needs more all-rounders in team to cover for four bowlers who leak many runs in a match? I think he was discarded too early. I tend to somewhat agree with Ruben Loganathan. I think that he was unfairly dropped once Hardik was available, and it wasn't his fault that he was dropped. As far as bowling is concerned, from what I saw, I didn't find his bowling very convincing. But I do think that yes, he's someone who can be given a chance. But at what position? Because India were trying him out in the middle order, and he did play a good innings against West Indies in Eden Gardens in that series, and he actually batted well. But does his bowling add a lot of value? That is something that we need to see. And for that, we need to see him bowl a lot more in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, in the IPL. Also, the one thing that I want to say is sometimes performances in Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy can tend to deceive you, because they might come against oppositions which aren't very great oppositions. Now, Prithvi Shaw has scored 100 and a 50 in 3 matches so far in the Syed Mushtaq Ali tournament. right? But that 50 has come against Mizoram and that 100 has come against Assam. Now, these two teams out of the 38, 39 teams that India have in their domestic circuit are a few of the weakest teams, right? And if you really want to test the quality of a Prithvi Shaw or a Ruturaj Gaikwad or Shubman Gill or any player that aspires to play for India, then you really can't judge the quality of that player on the basis of performances against these teams, because they are not the strong teams in your domestic circuit. So you also need to be cognizant of the fact against which teams those performances are coming at. If are those performances coming against UP, Madhya Pradesh, Saurashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, then yes. If it Because Tamil Nadu at this point of time have a very good T20 team, they have very good bowlers. So if someone is doing well against Tamil Nadu consistently, or teams like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Saurashtra, then yes, we should take up. We should stand up and take notice. But when we are taking cognizance of performances in the domestic circuit, we need to see and have a look against which oppositions are those performances coming, and in what conditions. That is one thing I want to wanted to talk about. This is nothing against Prithvi Shaw or any other player. I just want people to be a little more cognizant of the other things other than just the scoreboard, right? Sometimes we lose perspective of that. I think the real test of players like Prithvi Shaw, Shubman Gill, Ruturaj Gaikwad lies at the India A level or at the IPL level, wherein they will face better bowling attacks who can actually find them out. So if they perform very well at that level, then yes, we can talk of playing them for India. So that is something that I wanted to clear up. And yes, Venki Iyer was discarded a little too early. I agree on that. Do you see Siraj coming in place of Harshal under any circumstances except injury? No. I think even if Harshal gets injured, India might draft in Shardul Thakur as a like for like, because Shardul Thakur also tends to bowl those cutters and those knuckle balls, and he can bat. So yeah, I think Siraj will find it difficult, even if Harshal gets injured or any other bowler. Do you think we have a long tail? Because if we have Chahal and Shami, then we have Arshdeep and Bhuvi to follow its long tail. Excellent question and excellent observation, but this is the reason why I don't think Chahal and Shami will play together. I think if Chahal is playing, then Harshal Patel will play. If Shami is playing, then Ashwin will play. I don't see any scenario in which Chahal and Shami will play together, because that really makes India's tail a very long one. So at all points of time, I do see one of Ashwin or Harshal playing for their batting at the number 8 spot. I don't see Chahal and Shami together playing together in any game. Subho Chauhan is saying KL Rahul is a concern in the power play. Rohit getting out because of him only. Rahul said that he's looking to improve as an opening order. I mean, he's 30 years old and still not delivering. Now, I've had a lot of criticism for KL Rahul, and I had that criticism when others were not even criticizing him for the way he used to play for Punjab in the IPL. I was very critical of him for the 2020 IPL. But I think post the Asia Cup, especially post that Hong Kong game, he's actually been working on his intent, and he's batting a lot quicker than he would. He tried to bat fast against Pakistan in that Super 4 game. He batted quite well against Australia in that game in Mohali. He batted really well against South Africa in that game in the second game, which I think was in Guwahati. So I don't think KL Rahul's a concern, and I don't agree that Rohit is getting out because of him only. Rohit is getting out because Rohit has chosen to bat bat with a very high risk approach. Now, if you are going to take that very high risk approach, those things will happen, because there was also a game where both Rahul and Virat Kohli were dismissed early, and Rohit didn't, took his time. So I don't think it's fair. And people say that he's 30 years old and still not delivering. What people need to realize is that only post 2018 2019 he started getting consistent chances, because when he was actually scoring at a very fast rate in T20 internationals and T20s, India were preferring someone like Shikhar Dhawan over him, because India wanted a security of runs and not really fast runs. So uh, KL Rahul is someone who gets, I believe, gets a lot of unfair criticism. Yes, he's had approach issues in the IPL, and I have been someone who's really criticized him a lot for that. But I don't think that post the Asia Cup, that criticism holds true or holds any water. A lot of people have been criticizing KL Rahul for the knock that he played in their practice game against Western Australia, where he started off slow. But barring KL Rahul and Hardik Pandya, who scored a 9 ball 17, no other Indian batter scored anything decent at even run a ball. So maybe there's a possibility that batting was actually tough. And the reason I'm saying it is a possibility because there was no stream available and there was no ball by ball commentary for anyone to come up with any sort of absolute conclusion. I just think because it's KL Rahul, it becomes easier for people to criticize him for his scoring rate, even when it's not justified. Like in the first game that happened in Thiruvananthapuram against South Africa, where it was a very, very difficult pitch and India were without Hardik Pandya. I think KL Rahul batted decently and he batted the situation. So T20 will never be a one-dimensional game where you just see ball and hit ball. Cricket is a very situational game. It has different situations, and sometimes batters need to bat that situation and not play in that one gear only. I don't know why we don't have that kind of a player in top six who can give 1 or 2 overs. Once upon a time, we used to have Raina, UV, Yusuf Pathan, who can. Yeah, I mean, ideally you would like that kind of a player, someone like a Yashasvi Jaiswal or Abhishek Sharma. But what has happened is that in ODI cricket, because of the field restrictions in the middle overs, a lot of part timers have gone out of the game, right? And that has meant that they are not even bowling in T20s. And a lot of these players who could bowl, like Virat or like Rohit Sharma, they have had injuries. Rohit has had a shoulder injury, Virat has had a back spasm. So when these players have had injuries, they tend to not risk themselves for bowling those 1 or 2 overs. Ideally, yes, you would want that, and the only way that to do that is maybe uh, ask domestic teams to have your bowlers bowl. Maybe someone like Riyan Parag. Now Riyan Parag also needs to work on his bowling, and he bats in the top four for Assam. Abdul Samad is one other player. So you need the only person who I think is a decent enough batter in the top six and can bowl well is someone like Washington Sundar, but he needs to stop getting injured and not get COVID. He's been quite unlucky in that regard in the last 15 months. But yes, we do have very few such players who can bat in the top six and bowl. Hopefully that changes in the future. That's all I can say. Sir, India also lacks good T20 specialist left-handed batters like Riley Rousseau, David Warner. David Miller is another player. Uh, Unfortunately, Rishabh Pant didn't deliver for India. India wanted to back Rishabh Pant because he was a left-hander and he was someone who could counter left-arm spin and leg spin, but he hasn't really been able to score any runs for India, and that can happen when when you choose to back a player and he doesn't deliver. So I wouldn't really hold that against the management. It's just that the player that they bagged, he didn't deliver. It's as simple as that. Yes, that is a concern, I won't deny that, but India have to be, if the right handers are batting, then they need to ensure that they don't lose their wickets to a left arm spinner, or India can look to promote Akshar Patel and hope he fires against left arm spin. Ajay, I've already addressed this that India probably need to. Leg spin is not as much as of problem as left arm spin is because Surya Kumar Yadav plays leg spin well. Virat Kohli's game against leg spin has been encouraging since the Asia Cup, where he batted well against Rashid, and in that last T20I against Australia, he actually batted well against Zampa too. Which is there's a reason why I've said that India should need to uh, try out someone like Akshar Patel in the middle order and see what he can do versus spin. Paras Yadav, do you think BCCI should give chance to Mohsin Khan and Umran Malik after this World Cup? They can be our backup for us in the World Cup 23. Mohsin Khan has not played a single T20 game or any professional game since the eliminator of the IPL. There's one name that people are forgetting, and that is Khalil Ahmed. There's Teen Natarajan as well. So maybe if Mohsin Khan is injured, the selectors can look to give these players a chance. Malik was supposed to be one of the net bowlers for the World T20, but due to his visa issues, he couldn't travel, and he's now playing for Jammu and Kashmir in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. And yes, I think Umran Malik can get those chances, and he will get his chances in time. There's already an attempt to fast track him. He was in the rest of India squad. He was in the India squad versus New Zealand A. What selectors are looking for is a little bit of control and consistency. One of the reasons why India can't have a bowler like Imran Malik in their first 11 is because they don't have a lot of bowling options, because they don't have, barring Hardik, any other bowler who can bowl in the top six. And without that, it becomes very difficult to back a bowler like Imran Malik in the 11, because if he's going for runs, then it's very difficult to get a full quota of overs out of him. So that's that. Oh, I have no clue, but yes, I did address it in one of the episodes that in ODIs there is no space for him, because someone like Ruturaj Gaikwad, has been traveling with the ODI team for almost a year. He was there in the South Africa squad, the ODI squad against South Africa, but he's only been able to play one game. And the likes of Ishan Kishan also haven't got a lot of game time. So where do you fit Prithvi Shaw in the ODI circuit? But I do believe that. That someone like Prithvi Shaw needs to get his average up to a minimum of 30. To 2021, he had an average of 32 and he had a strike rate of 159. Those are very good numbers. But because he fell ill, his numbers fell down to 28 and 153. Now, the reason why you need a minimum of average of 30 for a team like India is because they don't bat deep. And when you're not batting deep and you have batting finishing up till 7, you need batters, at least the top 5, to have an average of minimum 30. So I think the day Prithvi Shaw starts giving the minimum average of 30 consistently, which I think he's very capable of without even compromising on his strike rate. And had he played the last season completely without falling ill, he would have probably done that. I think it would be very difficult for him to draw for him to not find a space. Also, I think there might be a few issues of discipline. That is something which is my concern, or which is my feeling. I hope I'm wrong here. uh, but yes, I think post the World T20, India will need to look at other players outside of Virat and Rohit Sharma. And there's Shreyas who's in the waiting, there's Samson who's in the waiting, there's Ishan Kishan, there's Ruturaj Gaikwad. I think eventually Prithvi Shaw will make it to the T20 team. He's too good a player to not make it to the India T20 team. He just needs to, bring up his average to a minimum of 30. That is something which is really needed, because from a specialist batter, you need to expect a minimum of runs as well. He can't be a Sunil Narayan wherein average completely goes out of the window. You need a minimum of average of 30, and I think that is something that you need from Prithvi Shaw. No, I don't agree, because even when KL wasn't playing, and which was the case in England and in West Indies, Rohit was still batting like that when he had Surya Kumar Yadav at the other end. So I don't agree to this. Uh, Uh, the only thing I think that they could have done better is probably could have given Siraj more chances when he was there in the T20I team the for the series against Sri Lanka and West Indies. Probably that is something that they could have done. They chose to back Avesh, but Avesh didn't deliver. And I don't think anyone could have foreseen an injury happening to Bumrah. So yeah, probably they could have, but yeah, it's very difficult to say this in hindsight, to be very honest. We have to be really really harsh to hold this against the current management. Subodh with a very nice comment. Thank you, Subodh. I hope others share the same feeling. Sorry, all about sports. I'm just looking for your question. Just wait. Sorry, there are a lot of questions that come in, so sometimes I miss a few questions. Just give me a moment. Why do you think good India players not coming from eastern side of India, barring only a few players? Now this is something very interesting. I think uh, one is obviously a lot of teams that are from the eastern part of the country. In the Ranji Trophy, they are placed in the played group, right? Now, for your performances to get noticed in played group, you need to do a lot more than when you are coming from, say, the power centers, say a Karnataka or a Tamil Nadu or Mumbai. It's difficult because the the bias is, or the impression is, oh, you have only scored runs against played teams, right? So there's also a lack of media coverage, and there's also a lack of opportunity, I feel. And there are also a few stereotypes. It's a combination of a lot of things now, and it happens everywhere. If you look at the sport of hockey, right, players are usually coming in from mostly 3 or 4 states only, and it's a combination of a lot of things, because that sport is popular in those 3 or 4 states like Odisha, Punjab, Haryana, Karnataka. And because the sport is popular in these states, their associations are stronger, there is more opportunity, and the lobbying is also a lot more. So it's a combination of a lot of factors. And a lot of people criticize Rian Parag in the IPL, but I don't think many would know that his father has also played cricket for Assam in the Ranji Trophy, and Rian Parag averages 44 in the Ranji Trophy, and in the Vijay Hazare Trophy he ended up with an average of 44, 45. So it's a combination of a lot of things. It's a combination of lack of opportunity, it's a combination of lack of media coverage, and it's also somewhere a combination, somewhere a factor that people don't think that northeastern states can give you good cricketers. uh, like I said, a combination of a lot of things. Hopefully one big cricketer that comes from that state really changes that perspective, and I really really want someone like Rian Parag to do well, purely for this reason. Because if a Rian Parag does well for India in cricket, then it would make him a star in the northeast. It would make a lot of young children pick up the sport of cricket, and it would bring in more attention, more money, more facilities to the northeastern states of the country when it comes to promoting cricket. So I really hope that happens. An excellent question. I really like this question. Do you think it was a mistake by previous management by backing Pant after BG Trophy in white ball, especially T20 eyes? He was dropped in Australia for white ball. Uh, well, he did. He's done well in ODIs. In all the ODIs that he's played since his comeback, he's averaged 51 at a striker of 113. So yeah, no, I don't think it was a wrong call, because quality is there. I just think Pant's not had the time to work on his T20I game, and his weakness of the wide lines have been exposed, and he's also a little confused how he wants to bat, because there's obviously a lot of pressure, a lot of competition. I think it's been a combination of factors, but I don't think that they were wrong in bringing Pant back, because he's done well in ODIs. So, and even in this IPL, he didn't play a long innings or a big innings, but he averaged 30 for a strike rate of 153. Now, those are decent numbers when you're batting at number 3 or number 4. So, yeah. Yeah, so All About Sports has listened to that answer and has added something which I tend to agree. Ajay Chauhan is saying IMO Australia has the best first 11 with right mix of world class batters and bowlers and a lot of all rounders which none of the other teams have. I think their death bowling is a concern, and form of Maxwell is a concern. Maxwell has now gone 9 innings, if I'm not wrong, without a score of 20 plus, and probably 7 innings without a score of 10 plus. The good thing that Australia are doing is that they have realized that Steve Smith doesn't find a place in their 11, and I think that's an excellent call. But I still think their bowling could improve. They could have probably looked to. It's a shame that Nathan Ellis isn't in their squad, who's been their best death bowler in recent times. Pat Cummings goes for runs. Mitchell Stark also is a very high variance bowler. He goes for runs, and so their death bowling is a concern. And yeah, against high pace also they've had batters who have struggled. So yes, I do think that they have a very good first 11, but it's not that there aren't issues. They've lost a T20I series versus India. They've lost a T20I series versus England at home. So there are concerns, but yes, I do think on paper they look much better than what they looked last time. That I agree. Hoping, anticipating that there will be a bit of reset after the T20 World Cup. How would you solve India's problem of batters not being able to bowl 2 3 years overs? Clearly, something needs to change. Long term perspective. Okay, so here are a few things. I think for anyone to become a medium pace bowler, forget a fast bowler, they need to be bowling from a very early stage of cricket, right? If you're not doing that at the nascent stages of your development as a cricket, it's very difficult for you to become for you to become a all rounder later on. The best you can do is become a spin bowler, On the other hand, for bowlers to work on their batting is easier, and we have seen many cases, the likes of Zahir and Harbhajan, even someone like Ravichandran Ashwin or Shardul Thakur, they have become better as batters while they have played international cricket. Harbhajan was a slogger initially, but in eventually, if you look at his Test career, he ended up with two hundreds, and he has had 250s in Australia. So Harbhajan became a better batter. So I think for batters to be bowling 2-3 overs, it needs to happen at a very primary stage of cricket development, and that needs to be probably told to state associations or associations that are linked with the BCCI, who look at young cricketers or the under 14 or the under 12 academies, because developing all rounders, or asking batters to start bowling at at a Ranji level or at an international level, especially if bowling pace is difficult. The best that they can do is bowl spin. But I think this reset has to happen from the grassroots. If the message goes out from the BCCI to the grassroots, then that is something that teams can work upon. Also, you have to see, what are the conditions in your domestic circuit. Like, in are batters who can bowl rewarded in your domestic circuit, or you just look for batters who give you truckloads of runs? If batters who can bowl and add something in the secondary department are not valued at the domestic circuit, then they're not going to pick up that skill. Then they're only going to focus on their batting and focus on those big runs. So it's a very difficult question to answer, wherein you can point at the deficiencies, but what would be the ideal solution is something that you will have to only find by trial and error. It's very difficult to come up with a solution which is binary, and expect that solution to work straight away, because there are a lot of physical constraints too as well, in terms of development of cricketers to become all rounders. I hope I have answered your question at length, Pranav, and I hope you like that answer. uh, with DK as our only designated finisher, don't you think we missed giving a chance to Tewatia? He can be a proper finisher and proved again and again he can give 2 or 3 overs as well. He's nowhere India A also. Rahul Tewatias is a very interesting case, because last year, for in 2021, when England were to play a T20I series versus India in Ahmedabad for those 5 matches, he was initially in the squad, but he was ruled out due to an injury. Rahul Chahar came in, and then he was nowhere to be found in Indian circuit. And he didn't have a great 2021 IPL, but in this IPL he was actually good, and I was very impressed with how he developed his game on the offside, because there was this one game between RCB and Gujarat Titans in Brabant Stadium, where I thought that if RCB bowl outside the off stump to Rahul Tewatia, they could actually look to restrict him. But he actually played some good shots. So Rahul Tewatia is someone that BCCI can definitely, the selectors should definitely look at, grooming at some point of time and giving him the chances. And yes, he can, bowl, play in the top six and give you those overs, because he was batting at number 6 for Gujarat. So Rahul Tewatia is an excellent suggestion by you, Priyanshu, and I hope that he's getting his chances. And I have no idea why he's nowhere near the India circuit. Very frankly, I don't have an idea, and I do think that he deserves his chances, because he's doing well in the IPL. And you need to give those chances to those players who are actually adding utility. Don't you think bowling first gives you a huge advantage in T20 cricket? Something needs to be done. People will always justify, but stats don't lie. It is an advantage, because pacing the innings is difficult, and the first 2 overs when you're batting first really goes into analyzing what could be the par score, and sometimes you could end up getting the par score wrong. Sometimes you could think it's a 180 wicket when it's a 160 wicket, and try and score 180 and end up with 130. And sometimes you might think it's a 160 wicket and it turns out to be a 180 wicket, and you realize after you've batted, oh, maybe you needed to bat more aggressively. So it is an advantage. And yeah, I don't know what you can do, because in ODI cricket, I do think that you can make pitches which have a little bit of life, which have something for the bowlers, like the pitch that we saw in the first ODI at Lucknow for India South Africa, where I thought the pitch had something for the pacers, it had something for the batters, and it had something for the spinners, and it really made for challenging ODI cricket, right? But I don't think in T20Is that can work, because if you have those conditions, right, you could very well end up with, the team that is batting first being out, 3 down in the power play, and then not being able to score a power score. So I think something that can offset that toss advantage in T20Is is absolutely flat wickets, wherein the team batting first also has a chance of scoring 200, and then they can use that scoreboard pressure to, restrict the team batting second. But yeah, I don't think much can be done apart from batters becoming more smart and bowlers becoming more smart. That's what I think, Ajay. Top five players you're eagerly looking in Syed Mushtaq Ali, including bowlers, batters. You can ignore also there are so many players, so top five might not come to mind instantly. Uh, I want to look at Kartik Tyagi. I want to look at Kuldeep Yadav. I want to look at Riyan Parag. I want to look at Abdul Samad, and these are names which are coming off the top of my mind. Uh, I want to look at a few names. I want to look at someone like Vishnu Vinod, who's gotten into IPL teams but has not got a chance to play. I want to look at Lalit Yadav because I am a Delhi Capitals fan and I want to see what he can offer. And I think Khalil Ahmed bowled a very good last over today. I didn't watch the game, but I read it somewhere. So five players is difficult, but yeah, I would like to see. I'd actually like to see players who have good hype but didn't get a lot of chances in the IPL. I want to look at someone like Abhinav Manohar from Karnataka, who played for Gujarat Titans, but I thought Gujarat didn't really use him well as a spin hitter. So yeah, there are some players that I want to look at. Yashasvi Jaiswal and the likes of Prithvi Shaw. I don't think you will get a lot to know about how they do. I want to look at Navdeep Saini. I want to look at how what's the level of control that he's operating at, because after playing county, I expect him to have a lot more control. And yeah, these are the few players that I want to look at. I must be forgetting a few names, but yeah, these are the few names. Now, no one is talking about Green after 2 3 failures. Well, that is how it goes on social media. Uh, Excellent insight on Pranav's question. Thank you, Nidhish. Nidhish, I hope I've got your pronunciation right. Subodh Chavan, can captaincy analysis be done by body language of captain? That Pakistani ex-cricketer Hafiz done that with Rohit Sharma. No, uh, all players have different kind of body language. All kind. See, body language is a byproduct of your personality. Virat Kohli will always be expressive, and being expressive is not equal to being aggressive in terms of your tactics. Rohit Sharma will always be expressive. MS Dhoni, regardless of match situation, will always have a poker face. Gautam Gambhir, even when his team is winning by 40 runs, would be angry that why are they not winning by 60 runs, despite captaining well. KL Rahul will never be very expressive, even when his team is on the verge of winning the IPL trophy, because that is the kind of person he is. So I think. Yeah, captaincy analysis on the basis of body language, I don't think will ever make a lot of sense, because also you can't, these captains are not robots, right? Their body language and their emotions are always going to fickle a little bit and vary a little bit depending upon match situation, because obviously they are concerned, and not everyone can be MS Dhoni and be poker faced about the match situation. So you are bound to get frustrated, you are bound to get angry. So and it's natural for any captain to get angry. And to be very fair to Rohit, some of the injuries that have happened of late, they are pure and sheer bad luck of him as a captain, because before Bumrah got injured, there was Jadeja who was injured, and before that KL Rahul was coming off an injury. So there were players who were injured, and the players that he and Rahul Dravid chose to back, they didn't perform, like Avesh and like Rishabh Pant. And then your experienced players like Bhuvneshwar Kumar, like Yuzvendra Chahal. Yuzvendra Chahal is coming off a purple cap season in the IPL, but he's not performing for India. So that is bound to make any captain frustrated. So for me, any analysis on the basis of body language wouldn't really be fair, because a body language of any person is a byproduct of the situation and the environment around him. Uh, if things are going out of hand, you can't expect all people to be absolutely calm and not show any expression. So yeah, I don't agree with that. And I think sometimes we go too much into it and not don't go into the tactical side of things, which is required. Pranav is saying, agree 100%. Thanks a lot for answering my question. I was of the same view that there needs to be some incentive put into place to encourage the batters who could bowl. Thank you, Pranav. Uh, I can watch and participate in such cricket analysis all day long. Thank you. Also, your take on Rizwan's lack of offside play was stunning. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, Surya, my good friend, is here. Hi, Paji. Since the first set of matches are a couple of days away, who do you think will be the four teams making the Super 12? Well, I think West Indies and Sri Lanka will definitely make it. I also want to say that I think someone like Bangladesh is extremely lucky to be in the main round, because in the last 1 year they've played 27 T20 internationals and they've won only six. And out of those six wins, two wins have come against UAE, one against Papua New Guinea, one against Oman, one against Afghanistan, and one against Zimbabwe. Uh, can Zimbabwe make a splash this time? I'd hope that I'd like someone like Sikandar Raza to have a great tournament, and I'd like, because there are a lot of likable players in that Zimbabwe squad. I'd like Muzarbani to do well. So I'm not really sure if they can, but I'd love to do that. To be very honest, I don't get that. I'm not as good as Surya in terms of following associate cricket, but I try. So I can't give a definitive answer. I'll probably try and address this question in one of the tweets later on. Read a little bit about all the other squads that are there. But yes, I hope Zimbabwe do, because I thought last World T20 Zimbabwe were quite unfortunate to not even play the qualifying round because the board had actually banned their ICC had actually banned their board due to some non-payment. So I thought it was quite unfair for them. So if Zimbabwe do make it to the main round, it will actually be a very good story that a team that wasn't even allowed to participate in the qualifying round in the last World T20 has now made it to the main round. I'd love that. I'd honestly love that. Because I think the growth of any sport across the globe lies in how the smaller nations do and how the smaller teams do, and how well can they punch above their weight at the world events. There's a reason why football World Cups have a lot of have a lot of following, crazy following attached to it, is because there's a level playing field for even the smaller teams, and there are always instances where the smaller teams upset the bigger teams, and that creates waves across the globe. So I really want that to happen in cricket, and this is one of the reasons why I absolutely hate the 10 team World Cup format. I think that is something that makes the sport a lot more elite, and it doesn't really help in the growth of sport. So I look forward to T20, because I think T20 bridges that gap, and that can make the sport far more global. So I really hope that Zimbabwe do well. How to tackle Shaheen Afridi in PB? Why are openers against left? Well, see, statistically, right-handed batters will always struggle against left-arm bowlers. I just think the issues of our players are highlighted a lot more. If you look at KL Rahul's overall stats against left-arm pacers, they are not bad. It's just that it has happened in big games that we tend to remember it. It happened in the 2017 Champions Trophy, so we remember it. But outside of that, you wouldn't really see India struggle that much against left arm. In fact, their numbers are decent. So I think the bigger issue for India is not tackling Shaheen Afridi or a left arm pacer, but the bigger issue for India is how to tackle left arm spin. Because against left arm spin, our batters either get dismissed or they get restricted. So for me, that is the bigger concern. Okay, this is a good question. What three IPL players that you draft before IPL auction if you are owner? Number one, Rashid Khan. Uh, number two, number one, Rashid Khan. Number two, David Warner, and number three would be Jasprit Bumrah. Yeah, these three players. Uh, if Jofra Archer is available, I'll probably go for Jofra Archer over Jasprit Bumrah because he offers me something with the bat. But if there is no Jofra Archer, then I'll take Jasprit Bumrah eyes closed. These three players. Your thoughts on Yashasvi Jaiswal? I like him. I think he's someone who has the game to make it big in all three formats. And I absolutely loved how he worked on his intent. From the first leg of the 2021 IPL to the second leg of 2021 IPL. I liked how he batted in the 2022 IPL. So yeah, I like him, and I hope that he does well even at the A circuit. And I was shocked that he didn't play in the rest of India 11 against Saurashtra in the Irani Trophy. He should have definitely played ahead of Yash Dhul or someone like Mayank Agarwal. I know Mayank Agarwal played on seniority, but ideally Mayank Agarwal shouldn't have been there in the squad as well because he's been struggling for runs in the red ball format. Jitesh and Mayank have also been pretty decent. Yes, Jitesh Sharma is one that I want to see that. Experts blame only Jordan for England loss in semi-final 2021, but England scored only 166. See Butler and Johnny strike rate in that game. Well, blaming one player or one moment is never something that I buy. And coming to England's batting, I think that entire innings of England in that semi-final was a case of them trying trying to hit more shots but not succeeding. I didn't think at any point of time England lacked intent. I think they had intent. It's just that it didn't come off. Uh, you know, Joss Butler got out at the time when he was starting to look very dangerous while playing a reverse sweep, and that is one shot that has given him a lot of success. Then, if you look at when David Milan was dismissed, he was just starting to up his strike rate, and then he was dismissed. So I don't think at any point of time England lagged intent. It's just that when you are batting first and you are trying to score those 15, 20 extra runs, sometimes you have more intent and you start to lose your shape and not get the shots or not play the shots that you want to. So yeah, but Jordan's death bowling is been a huge concern. In the last 3 years, he has an economy rate of around 10.3 in the last 4 overs, and in 50 overs, he's only picked up around 18 wickets, if I'm not wrong. So I don't think Jordan's a death bowler. I don't know why England continue to back him as a death bowler in T20s. Indian batting has potential to score 220 plus in most matches, assuming normal pitches, but somehow they aren't able to. No, I think scoring 220 plus can never be can never be something that you can expect any team to do every time on normal pitches as well. 180 plus, yes. 200 plus also sometimes needs a very special innings. 220 plus becomes a rarely that kind of a day where everything you try and do connects. So India has a good batting lineup. They can be back to score 180 plus on normal pitches and even on slightly trickier pitches, but 220 plus is, I think, is a little too much. And maybe, yeah, the expectation can be that on absolute roads India while batting first should score 200. But one thing that I want to tell you, and this is not something that is coming from me, is something that even MS Dhoni said, that when you are batting first, the most that you can look to target is 190, because you have to be careful about not losing too many wickets as well. So that is there. Batting first, consistently scoring 200 plus is difficult regardless of where you are playing or what you are doing. Paji, I could be wrong here, but most of the younger crop in limelight seem to be efficient against spin. Who, according to you, are the good pace hitters coming through the ranks? I like how Yashasvi Jaiswal keeps his shape. The way he hit a few shots against pacers in the IPL, I really liked it. Uh, Abdul Samad, yes, he's someone that I really like his game against pace. He's hit sixes to Rabada, Nokia, Bumrah. Uh, and Hazelwood. So Abdul Samad is someone who I think can be a very good pace hitter and that can be a very good power hitter. Uh, then amongst the younger crop, Shaw's young. Yeah, Shaw's good against pace. Shuman Gill's not too old either. It's just that he's been around that we think he's become old. So he's a good pacer. He's a good player of pace bowling. Uh, Abhishek Sharma this IPL I thought had good classical strokes, but he needs to probably work on his game against back of length bowling. So does Tilak Verma, but this will happen because these are younger players. They've also not placed extremely high pace at the domestic circuit. So I think the more they play in the IPL and the more they play 140 plus bowling, the more they'll be better equipped to do that. And yeah, it's a good thing that they are efficient against. I think when it comes to playing against spin, there are two factors to it. One is not giving your wicket to spin, and the other is hitting spin. I think the likes of uh, Virat, Rohit, Pujara, they've been very good in terms of not giving their wicket to spin in test matches. But they aren't probably the best hitters of spin bowling. So it's good to see the younger crop being very good hitters of spin bowling as well. So that is something that I think is a huge positive. Well, a very happy birthday to Gautam Gambhir as well. No, no disrespect meant to him, but I was just trying to make an example. Bharat Kotwani is asking, you see Prasid getting chances in Test as Bumrah is injured. Well, India brought Prasid in the last year in the Test matches in England, but he didn't get chances because India see him as someone who can replace Ishant Sharma as the deck bowler. But even Prasid is injured. He was named in the India A squad for the Test matches against New Zealand A, so we don't know. But yes, Prasid in Test matches is one prospect that I want to see. But I just hope that he works on his control. And he hasn't played a lot of first class cricket either because of the pandemic and the lack of A2s. So hopefully Prasid does well. We should include players like Sundar, Shahbaz, Abdul Samad, Venki, Deepak Chahar, Thakur in 2024 World Cup because in T20 even your best. Uh, See, for me, you can't just to elongate your batting depth. You can't be compromising on your bowling quality completely. You still need 2 to 3 bowlers who can bowl in, who can be banks in certain phases, right? Uh, and you can't just have bowlers who can bat a little bit and not give you 4 overs. So I wouldn't go to that extreme end. I think Shardul Thakur needs to become a better T20 bowler, and if he's not going to work on his bowling, then he needs to become a batting all rounder. Probably try and start batting in the top 7 and then see how he can do. Deepak Chahar again, I think his ability to swing the ball irrespective of conditions is outstanding. But if he could become a better death bowler, or if he could become a better batter, then he could become a really handy cricketer in T20s. But yeah, and as far as Sundar is someone who India obviously want to give chances, but he's had, like I said, he's had some very difficult 15 months where he's been injured or out due to some illness. He had COVID as well. Then he had a finger injury. Abdul Samad, I think, will get his chances. Shahbaz is now in the thick of things. Hopefully, he gets consistent chances and delivers because the competition is also quite a lot. What's your India 11 for 23rd October? It's quite simple, I think. Rahul and Rohit to open, Virat Kohli at number 3, Surya Kumar Yadav at 4, Hardik Pandya at 5, 6 and 7 will be Akshar Patel and Dinesh Karthik. I won't mind Akshar Patel being promoted to 5 as well if the situation demands us. It demands him to demand someone to hit against Nawaz and Shadab. So that is my top 7. I'll have Ashwin at 8, my 10 and 11 are fixed in Bhuvi and Arshdeep. I'll only take a call between Harshal and Shami. If Shami doesn't play the next T20 two warm-up games and Harshal only plays, then I'll play Harshal. And then I'll play Harshal. But if Shami does well and Harshal doesn't, then I'll play Shami. Oh, this is maybe I think it's got something to do that whenever they are chasing an above par total where they are chasing 118 or 190 or 200 plus, because if you are always chasing, because if you are chasing more often than not a total which is above par, right? Then even a win percentage of 45% can be a good one. So it's difficult to answer this without exactly knowing that what was the average chase, or what was the score that England were chasing, and why their win percentage is very good while batting first is I think the way that they play. They know that they have to compensate for their bowling being weak. They have a lot of bowling options, but their bowling options aren't very good in quality, and a few of their bowlers are conditions or matchup oriented bowlers, like Moeen Ali, like Livingston, like Sam Curran, maybe to some extent even David Willey. So I think when they are batting first, they know that they have to bat deep, so they score an above par total, and that helps their bowling because the batting team is always under pressure and they are looking to take that extra risk, which allows them to take those few wickets. But to answer why they are chasing, while their win percentage while chasing is only 45%, I think we need to look at what are the targets that they are chasing. If they are always chasing more than 190 plus, or if they are chasing on majority of the times more than 190 plus, then obviously that winning percentage is going to take a hit. Are you seeing Pant be dropped soon after the World T20? I hope so, because I don't think if Pant is not going to do something out of the ordinary, or play a substantial innings. And if there are no signs of his T20 international or T20 game improving, then I don't see a point in keeping him in the squad. And I think it would be the best for both him and the team for Pant to be dropped from the world T20, from the T20I squad, and be asked to work on his T20 game. Because at present, if he's going to keep on playing, he will not even get a chance to improve on his game, and that will affect his confidence. So I hope that he gets dropped if he doesn't get the chances, because you also need to try out other players and give them chances. I think that's only fair. What makes Jaws Butler special? I think one is obviously the range of shots that he has. He can play all around the wicket. He can play in front of the wicket. He can play square of the wicket, and he can play behind the wicket. And there's this one shot that he plays where he's standing in the crease. He doesn't even uses his feet, and he's able to hit a six, over covers. And that is a very very difficult shot. And he's not even hitting those sixes over covers from the front foot. He's doing it off the back foot, where his back leg is even fixed on the crease. So I think fast hands, and that is something that I think he has gained because of his keeping skills. Fast hands, having shots all around the wicket, is something that makes Butler a very good T20I batter. And then the intelligence. He knows which bowlers to target. In this IPL, he did not attack the best bowler of the opposition's lineup. He only went after the bowlers he knew that need to be taken apart. The 100 that he scored against Mumbai, he played out Jasprit Bumrah, but when he knew that it was Basil Thampi who was bowling, he tried to attempt six boundaries in that over. So he knows which bowlers to target. When he scored that 100 against KKR in Brabon, I don't think he went after Sunil Narayan. He went after other bowlers. He went after a Pat Cummins. He went after an Andre Russell. He went after a Varun Chakravarti, because he knew that only Sunil Narayan could get him out. There was this 100 that he scored in the last IPL against Sunrisers Hyderabad, where he played out Rashid Khan, because he knew once he's played out Rashid Khan, then in Kotla, there's nothing that can stop him if he wants to hit his shots. So he knows when to concede matchups, how to play situations, and then he has this insane amount of ability and skill that makes anything and everything possible for Joss Butler. So I think that is what makes him special. He not only has the skills, but he has the smarts to play out those skills as per the situation and deliver. So that is what makes him very special. Ajay Chauhan, Paji, ਤੁਸੀਂ great ho. You are someone who I think has best cricket knowledge of all cricket experts out there. Thank you so much. I'm always learning. And, there are a lot of people who are there on our cricket.com platform who actually write very well. I just ask you to read their articles. Someone like Anirudh Suresh has done a very good article on the type of T20I batters as well. There's a video also. Shubh Agarwal has written an excellent piece on Mohammad Siraj, and on the similarities between Bishnoi and Shami. There's someone by the name of Pramod who's done a very good preview for all the associate teams. So it's just that I'm a face, and I'm able to give out my thoughts well, but there are definitely better cricket experts out than just now looking to end up the show, because it's been 1 hour 10 minutes since I have been on this show. Your top three best bowling attacks. There's only one best. My top three bowling attacks in this World Cup would be, I think, South Africa, Pakistan, and I think Adam Zampa makes Australia a good bowling lineup. In last World Cup, after loss to Pakistan, India was under a lot of pressure if the match is against New Zealand. I hope this. Well, I don't think you can control these things. Pressure is bound to be there, and I think if India lose the first match again, there will be more pressure, because they wouldn't want to repeat what happened last time. So I don't think you can ignore pressure. Hardik can give you 3 to 4 overs regularly. No, he can't. And it's not just because he's not skilled. He's also a high variance bowler. But if he starts to bowl 4 overs regularly, he could end up injuring his back again. So you don't even want him to be bowling those 3 to 4 overs regularly. No, this Vijay Merchant Syed Mushtaq Ali iconic partnership at Manchester in 1936 is something that I'll also have to read myself. So definitely, if I don't know about this, partnership, so my critical wisdom isn't as old. It's just that I just try and keep learning and keep trying to be objective as much as I can be. I try, but thank you so much for this comment. Surya says, totally agree on Bangladesh. They are lucky to be in Super 12 given their long standing struggles in the format for a while. Yes. Uh, would there be a chance of Harshal playing ahead of Shami? Yes. If Shami doesn't play the two warm ups or doesn't do well in those two warm ups, Harshal could play. But I think against South Africa, Shami definitely has a chance of playing, even if Shami plays. Do these sessions happen frequently? Yes, every Friday at 8 p.m. Next Friday will be the last episode of Deep Point with Gilly Cricket before the World Cup. Then we'll resume after the World Cup, because during the World Cup we have a lot of other things planned, and you'll get to know. We Stay tuned for that. Dharya says, agree again about KL. Agreed with you. He gets over criticized. He says, yes, completely agree. Uh, I seriously wish we have Sri Lanka and West Indies in your group. Having big teams can improve our chances to get into semis. Last year we were having three associates, and our chance for semi was dependent only on two matches. I can understand why you're saying that, but West Indies I think will end up in India's group anyway. I don't think Sri Lanka will. But for me, West Indies batting is a concern, and I would like you guys to do look out at the preview that we have done for West Indies with Dan Weston, where he's gone deep and explain the issues that they have. So please check that out, and you will understand why it's a concern. Don't you think World T20 tournament all has to be because it's so? Well, then it will get very big, because if you want to have 12 teams in the main round, then you can't have you all of them. If all of them play round robin, 12 into 11 would be 132 divided by 266. You will end up having 66 games, and I don't think the window allows for that. And you need a little bit of uncertainty, because when there is uncertainty will be the time when there are upsets. I think if anything, World T20 tournaments or World Cups in general need to have a lot more uncertainty, because that is what creates that pressure. That is what allows those smaller teams to come forward and perform and get more chances. I till date love the format that was there in the 2007 World Cup, wherein you had four groups of four teams, had 16 teams, and points were being carried forward from the group stage. And when you slipped up, you knew you could be eliminated, and that gave a lot of chance to the likes of Bangladesh and Ireland to play against big teams. So much so that Bangladesh defeated South Africa as well in the Super 8s, and Ireland defeated Bangladesh. And Ireland would have never got that exposure if it had not been for that World 2007 World Cup format. So I think the uncertainty needs to be a lot more. uh, Rajesh, we are doing this analysis on Twitter. I'll try and do that. But on video, we are already doing it for cricket.com. That is there. There will be a playlist out soon. I do hope Afghanistan can do justice to their passion. Have always lost at the last moment. I think the conditions in Australia are such that their batting will struggle, because they either have batters they have batters who can only bat in one gear, either look for boundaries or just play dots. I don't think they have a batsman who can pace their innings well. So I think Afghanistan will struggle. But yes, again, they can surprise a couple of teams like New Zealand, maybe even Sri Lanka in the group stages. Well, he can, because at some point of time there are at international level you will find players who have read you, or else you might become like Ajanta Mendis, where after 2 years you're nowhere to be seen. I hope that Varun Chakravarti can come back to his best and do well. Well, Tilak Verma has played lesser domestic cricket than Rajat Patidar. Rajat Patidar was one of the tops. I think he had 600 runs in this Ranji Trophy season, and Tilak Verma has been fast tracked anyway. He was in the squad for India A against New Zealand A, and he's just 19. Rajat Patidar, on the other hand, is 26, 27, and he's been performing in Syed Mushtaq Ali and Ranji Trophy. I wouldn't really say that it's an opportunity on some good knocks. I think that's unfair. Last question that I am taking. Thoughts on Sky's career so far? Well, he's been outstanding, and I think you need a lot of adjectives, and I don't have those adjectives to describe him. I think he has a boundary percentage of less than, like, he hits a boundary uh, less than every 4 balls in T20 international cricket. That basically means every 2 overs he's hitting 3 boundaries, and when you are hitting 3 boundaries in every 2 overs, then you are essentially, scoring. You can score at a run rate of 10 runs per over very easily. And he has a very good average as well. So Sky has been outstanding. Do you think Smith will be the first choice for Australia in the World Cup? No, I don't see him starting in the 11, and I think, in my view, he shouldn't have been in the squad also. We can ignore pressure if we are Kapil Dev. Well, yeah, I didn't like his comment, and yeah, I'd actually like the older generation to move on with the times. Pressure is something that you can't ignore. It's difficult. It's easier to say, but even in our lives, in our professional lives, we also sometimes succumb to pressure. So I think this expectation to ignore pressure isn't a great one, and I don't think we should have that expectation either. Do you think we can be a replacement for Virat post the world, and we always need one collapse saver? I think that collapse saver can be KL Rahul, post the time when Virat and Rohit Sharma give up playing T20 international. So yeah, I think we'll be fine. Now I'm going to end this show. I am also tired a little. I've spoken for 1 hour 18 minutes. That's a lot, and my throat is going sore now. But thank you so much to all of you for sending in your questions. Loved this interaction. A few more questions have come in. I'm taking them. Uh, who do you think can make a good T20 selector in future for India, Baji? I know they may not have a separate selection panels, but the format needs a whole different selection thought process. I agree. And who can make a good T20 selector is someone like, I don't think people will like this answer, but I think Sanjay Manjrekar can be a very good T20 selector. I think Ajit Agarkar can be a very good T20 selector. Ajay Jadeja, because the reason why I say Sanjay Manjrekar is I think he's an excellent analyst and he understands technique very well. I liked how he broke down the way that KL Rahul bats in the IPL after the eliminator. And Ajit Agarkar, when he was doing analysis for Crick Info, he did spoke about, he was one of the few people who actually spoke of Dhoni's poor returns in the last 2 years of his T20 career. And if he can speak that, then you can expect him to speak about that and be a good selector. So I think these people can be good T20 selectors. And yeah, then if you look at others in the circuit who has been good, maybe Sanjay Bangar as well. So yeah, there are a few people who understand T20 cricket well, and yeah, these 3-4 players I think can be good T20 selectors in the future. I wouldn't really say VVS Lakshman or Saurav Ganguly or others, because I think a lot of people are not updating themselves with the time, and a lot of ex cricketers also for some reason have this, I don't know, they want to they don't they seem to be shunning the idea of using numbers or analysis, and I don't know why they want to do that, because it only helps in making a thought process and decision process. Pranav Anand is asking Zahir Khan. Well, yeah, maybe he can be someone, because he also understands uh, T20 well. Sehwag, UV, Raina. No, well, I wouldn't really. Sehwag and UV, no, definitely not. Sehwag just said that averages don't matter in T20, which is something that I don't agree with. Yuvraj also, I've seen a lot of. I've seen a lot of takes that I don't agree with particularly. Raina, I have not heard a lot of his analysis, so I can't say. But I think Manjrekar, uh, Agarkar, Ajit Agarkar, Jadeja, I think these people can be good T20 selectors. So thank you so much. Uh, a few comments have come in the end. Yashraj is saying, thank you for doing this. You always provide thorough responses to each question in detail. Thank you, Yashraj, because that is what this whole show is about. It is an interactive session where there can be follow-up questions, there can be suggestions as well. I am not going to be right about everything, so you should send in counter questions as well if you don't agree with something. All about sports. Thank you, Bari. Thank you so much. Mr. Kipling, many thanks. Very interesting and informative show. Thank you, Mr. Kipling. I hope to see you again next week. All About Sports agrees with me on Sanjay Manjrekar. I loved his analysis on Jadeja too. He was really bits and pieces that time. I agree as well. Uh, so yeah, Surya's come up with an excellent name, Irfan Pathan. And the reason I think why he's saying that is because Irfan Pathan was someone who actually scouted Abdul Samad and Umran Malik for Sunrise Hyderabad, and he's had decent takes for T20 as well. So excellent suggestion. Uh, Thanks a lot for this session. Loved your analysis and answers, especially unbiased thoughts. Thank you, Pranav. Har Sahib's agreeing with Surya. He says Irfan is someone whom I've looked at since a long time to be in administration. Well, you have. See, this is the beauty of the show. Even people who are commenting tend to agree with them. So that's all what you need. Uh, and yeah, Surya saying see you soon. Thank you, Surya. Yeah, and Surya is someone who also writes. You can follow him on Twitter. You can just search Surya Sesha. I think his account will come up. Hardik Pandya too was scouted by Irfan Pathan. Well, yes. So I think on this note, we need to end this show. Thank you so much. It's been a very long session, 1 hour 22 minutes. I didn't expect it to go this long. And the beauty of this session is that we never even touched upon the ODI series that I had planned to discuss, but it's okay. All for doing what the people and the viewers need, because at the end of the day, that is something that that is what the people turn up for, because they want their questions to be answered. And fans may not get a voice somewhere else, but I think cricket fans actually deserve their voice and their questions to be answered at some platform, and I'd love that platform to be cricket.com and this show specifically. So thank you so much, and on this note, I'll end this show. Please join again on Friday, and do check out the latest episode of Wrong Ones with Western, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow cricket.com on our social media handles. Thank you so much. Good night. Goodbye.